Good morning. This is White Raptor News Ministries. All praise and glory to the Most High, the Supreme Spirit of Truth, the Living One, God of Love, outside this plane of existence, the full controller of all things. Power and authority will be turned over to one. Folks, I've been learning a lot about this Bible. More so than I'm not tooting my own horn, but when you're in this Bible and you're reading it, you just realize these riddles, man. And when you're really into Gematria, in the fashion that I'm in Gematria, trying to always figure this stuff out, who is the beast, then we have lessons that need to be shared. Okay, the content taught on this channel here is mind-blowing content. Looking at this channel here, Brother Sanchez TV, on the internet, this guy here is probably my favorite channel that I listen to. I listen to a lot of channels, but this guy puts on blockbusters. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do no 10-hour stream. I just couldn't do it. That wouldn't be fun to me. Because it would just, when I'm doing my work and stuff, I'm in the Bible. He does all his streaming and his knowledge right there on the computer, right in front of you. And this man is a true seeker. But let's listen to what this person here on Brother Sanchez, this is a clip that Brother Sanchez, and I'm just going to let it play for only a minute to get to one point. So let's take a listen. Make sure it's up.
People are more gullible now than they ever have been in the history. People are more gullible now than they ever have been in the history of this species. That is just a fact. People are throwing away any level of thinking and rationality just to believe in the most outlandish garbage imaginable and just falling victim to every scam you could ever possibly drum up. 3 days ago,
So, that's really all I wanted to let you listen to. Folks, if you want to hear some real knowledge, Brother Sanchez, when he does his shows and he's teaching, he's a great instructor. Sometimes he brings a panel on. When he brings the panels on and stuff, there's a lot of confusion, a lot of dialogue, topics. People are, and I think it's a beautiful thing that he talks to his audience, and he allows them on a panel. You know, he usually has 20, 25 people that sit in on his panel. I'm one of the people that sit in on his panel. I like what the man teaches, because he teaches that we live in a simulation at a far greater concept and bringing you knowledge of the simulation that we live in. And I use the Bible. A lot of the stuff that this man teaches, I can equate scriptures to what he's teaching. So moving on, I want to show you. So I told you, I came across this channel the other day, and he hasn't got a lot of content. He only has like 46 videos, and I've probably watched about 8 of them now. Oh, I'm going to get through all of his content because I enjoy it. And this man here the other day on one of my lessons told us that God of Israel in English Gematria equals 666. Now, you got to understand that the slave masters watch everything that I do. Okay, bet your ass, because I teach what's outside of the scope of what the Bible says to others. And only a small percentage of even my own audience that is here is going to get the information, is going to hear the information that I'm sharing with you. Okay, these Bibles are so important. And these riddles in the Bible are so expressive in a manner that they just go right over everybody's heads. And it's difficult. But once you have the Spirit of truth on you, then you will be guided. I'm being guided right now from spirit. The spirit of truth, the spirit of love outside this plane of existence gives commands to angels. Angels move from the spiritual world into this world. They host people's bodies. They make them send videos inside of my thread. They don't even know why they're doing it. It's the same systematic way that when the Lord came through and said that he was going to kill all of the firstborn, that they came to this house here, and then they came to this house here, and they came to this house here, they left this house here. Or when they were slaying all the people in Israel when they had broken through the gates, and the children of Israel were being slaughtered, and they would kill 3 or 4 of these Israelites over here and then leave this Israelite here alone. And then they'd kill another 5 or 6 Israelites over here and then leave this Israelite here alone. Why? Because those Israelites that weren't struck down were wearing the spirit of truth upon them. Okay? The spirit, this God of Israel, Yahweh, says here, God of Israel in English, Gematria equals 666. And I showed that to you guys the other day, and I talked a little bit about it in on my show. And I said that I was going to find out if this was true or not. Okay? And I have. So they have this app here. And shit, man, until I found this thing, I've been doing things the hard way. You bet your ass on that. So now we can come to these, what I would say, names. You can put names inside of the Bible. You can put sentences inside of the Bible. You can do all kinds of things with this gematria because you have it in all 3 languages. Simple gematria, okay? Simple gematria is when you count with A to Z, counting 1 through 26. That's simple gematria, okay? English gematria here is when you count in increments of 6 for each letter of the alphabet. Okay? Hebrew gematria, I'm not really sure how this breaks down. Latin has one too as well. So when you go deep into learning what 666 is all about, it's about vampires. Why do you suppose that Hollywood tells you that a vampire can't see itself inside of a mirror? Is this a truth bomb? What is it really saying? When we stand, this is what it's saying exactly. When we stand in the mirror and we look at our flesh suit, that's what inside of you is what can't be seen. This is a hidden truth in Hollywood that they're telling you, because your soul has been captured, your light essence has been captured in a skin suit. So why is it that Hollywood is always equating the cross with death? Because that's what vampires are. Vampires are demons. These are devils. You understand that? You got to get away from it. This type of information is the real deal. This is what it's talking about inside of the Bible. Okay?
The world is a vampire. The world is a vampire. Sent to drain. Secret destroyer. Hold you up to the flame. What do I get for my pain?
The world is a vampire. You must understand that this plane of existence, these beautiful, gorgeous women and stuff like that, these are vampires. Okay? This is what they look like under the skin suits. You get it? This isn't a game. These people are telling you in Hollywood, okay? They are literally flesh eaters. Over here, a vampire is a demon, a ghost, and a phantasm. Okay? These three here are what I teach. Okay? Atheists mock you about these things, and I'm trying to teach you that they exist. The Bible is telling you that they exist. I'm showing you in the Bible that these demons exist. They've hidden themselves. Satan has put his hands on everything on this plane of existence. He has touched everything. There is nothing that Satan hasn't touched on this plane of existence, because this plane of existence is his plane of existence. Satan created this plane of existence, not the God of love. Not a God of pure love created this plane of existence. The God of pure love created two-faced gods. And that's what the gods are of the Bible. But Jesus, King James Bible here, cried out loud and gave up the ghost. A vampire is a ghost. A ghost is the spirit of the dead. Okay? A ghost is a demon, a devil, and a phantom. And this God, Elohim, that created himself in an image, which is an illusion, it is a phantom. A ghost is a phantom, also a vampire.
The world is a vampire.
And this parable here, Revelations 13:18, Bible Hub. Here's a call for wisdom. Let the one with insight calculate the number of the beast, for it's the number of a man, and the number is 666. This parable here has everything to do with Genesis. If we back this up and we bring Genesis 1:25 into this parable as well, God, 25, 26, and 27, add these three parables up. It comes to 78. 7 plus 8 is 15, and 1 plus 5 is 6. Has to deal with the sixth day of creation. It has to deal with this God, Elohim, that creates himself, a male and female, in the image of God, which I've showed you. An image is a representation. It is a phantom. A phantom is a ghost. It is something that has pulled the wool over our eyes. It has created an illusion, confusion, deception, a delusion, a fantasy, a hallucination. This is the life that you are living, is a false impression of reality. This, remember, Satan has trapped you into the material world. Okay, Ezekiel 31:3 over here. We're going to read from the King James Bible. Behold, the Assyrian, Satan was a cedar in Lebanon, a cedar tree, a cedar. Satan is the tree of knowledge of good and evil with fair branches. Fair branches means light skin, and with his shadowing shroud. The shadowing shroud is the skin suit. Satan created the flesh suit, okay? And then a Lord God, it's going to get deep, man. Then you have the Lord here, Yahweh. The Lord Yahweh, God Elohim. See, the Lord here uses Elohim. The Lord Yahweh is both a vengeful and loving God. It is a two-faced God. Understand that. You got to do what this Lord is telling you to do, or you're going to pay the consequences. You're going to be cursed. So this is a Lord that curses, okay? Understand that there's something outside of this plane of existence that isn't. It doesn't curse, okay? It doesn't destroy, it creates. This Lord here tells you straight up himself, Isaiah chapter 45:7, Bible Hub. This Lord here is the one that created the light, illumination. He created the darkness, evil. He brings prosperity, and he creates calamity. This is the Lord, and he does all things. This is the Lord Yahweh, and he does all things. This is the God of Israel. And in English Gematria, God of Israel comes to 666. Coincidence? Also, I've showed you many times that the very word computer in English Gematria means 666. Now, I know that Israel doesn't like hearing this, but I am just showing you with scriptures. Here, 1 Kings 8:12, the Solomon's. Then Solomon declared, the Lord Yahweh has said that he would dwell in the thick cloud. King James Bible, then spake Solomon, the Lord said that he would dwell in the thick darkness. Darkness. Here, Genesis 1:2. Now the earth was formless and void. Darkness was over the surface of the deep. Okay, figuratively, misery, destruction, death, ignorance, sorrow, wickedness. Why is darkness over the surface of the deep? Because a war had taken place in heaven. This is why you have in the beginning. There was no beginning until the fall. The beginning means the fall. This is what it's talking about specifically. You got to understand that during the creation story, God Elohim, when he creates his people, when he creates the Gentile race, this God Elohim that is used, you understand? Once you start recognizing that God in the Bible doesn't mean that it's talking about the supreme God. Everything on this plane of existence is used for the glory of the supreme creator, which is outside this plane of existence. They're trying to tear a veil or a hole in the veil.
At the forefront of scientific advancement is the European Council for Nuclear Research, CERN, renowned for its groundbreaking contributions to particle physics. Recently, the world-famous particle physics laboratory has revealed an extremely rare finding from its Large Hadron Collider that could completely change our understanding of the cosmos. Scientists believe these strange findings could uncover the presence of alien life in a parallel reality. This groundbreaking idea has sparked excitement and intense discussion among experts.
It hasn't sparked excitement with me. I mean, look right here, man. Elon Musk says CERN's Large Hadron Collider is a demonic technology. Do you think everything is demonic technology? Everything that I'm showing you right here is all part of the 666 system. This is why darkness is over the surface of the deep. And the spirit of darkness, okay? The spirit of darkness was hovering over the surface of the deep because this God, Elohim, had been cast down, okay? And this God, Elohim, is the one that's saying, in the beginning, God, Elohim, created the heaven and earth. In the beginning, time, 60 seconds, 60 minutes, 24 hours, 2 + 4 is 6. Okay, so who's this God here? Elohim, that's creating time. Time eats its own. Time is a trap. It's a time trap. Time doesn't exist in the base reality. This was a created reality to trap the soul and capture it inside of the flesh suit with the shadowing shroud, the darkness that was over the face of the deep, the illusion that was pulled over our eyes. Here, Exodus 20:21, and the people stood at a distance as Moses approached the thick darkness where God was. Where God, again, Ha Elohim, plural of Eloah, God's in the ordinary sense, but specifically used. This God is used of the Supreme Creator. So there is an authority outside this plane of existence that where Jesus was sent from. This is why Jesus says to love, right? But Jesus also says that you're to serve the Lord your God and serve him only and fear him only. Something was given permission here, folks. Everything on this plane of existence, if it's true in the Gematria that God of Israel is 666, that is something to be feared. Wouldn't you agree? If Yahweh is 666, that's what it's saying. This is what Gematria is saying, not what I'm saying. God of Israel in Gematria says that he is 666. This is fascinating to me. Like I said, also computer comes to 666. And I'm telling you that we live in a computer simulation. And if you want to learn the truth about this simulation that we live in, then this channel here, Brother Sanchez, that I was talking about earlier, is the channel to learn about this simulation. There's no one that does it better, you know. I'm going to bring his lessons over to my channel. I've brought a few of them. I talk a little bit about it, but there's no one that's quite as extensive as he is. So the people stood at a distance as Moses approached the thick darkness where God was. God was in thick darkness. This here is a cloud. It's a heavy cloud, probably from Araph, as in gloom, Raphael. There's a Raphael, an angel. The language we speak is 666. Language is the mark of the beast. It's all 666. Now, some may say that I'm reaching here, but in English Gematria, it comes to 408. Okay, 4 plus 8 is 12, and 1 plus 2 is 3. And 3 is representation of Abaddon, which is the angel from the abyss. Language on this plane of existence, the language that we speak calls on God's. We are speaking God's names in the language that we speak all the time. It's why one of the things that the monks do, this is why they don't speak. They go up there and they're completely silent for a year within their thoughts. You know how hard that would be to go through a year of your life without speaking one word? The silence inside your head. What you could learn about yourself to put yourself to that kind of test in this world of an illusion, which is a false impression on reality, which deals with that man in Genesis chapter 1:27 that creates himself, this God that Elohim, that creates himself in an image. He creates man in an image, mankind. This is mankind on the 6th day of creation. It all has to do with the 6th day of creation. Then Solomon declared, "The Lord has said that he will dwell in a thick cloud." Over here, New Living Translation, then Solomon prayed, "O Lord, you have said that you would live in a thick cloud of darkness." Wow, a thick cloud of darkness. Okay, let's go to the Hebrew dialect here for Choshak. Okay, Koshek. All right, and darkness means obscurity. Darkness. And then down here, Psalms 18:12, of darkness and death. Sheol. So when darkness is on the face of the deep, we're literally talking about an evil God, something that was given power. The earth is given into the hands, Job 9:24, of the wicked. He covers the faces of its judges. Oh, who are the judges? Our system, folks, Our judges are magistrates, so that they are blind to justice. The faces of the judges are blind to justice. If it is not he, then who is it that is responsible for all the injustice? I'm going to love this answer. Yahweh is the one that's responsible for the injustice. Yahweh is the one that is responsible for all that is good and all that is evil. Yahweh is a good, just God, but he is also an evil God. I've had a hard time trying to teach this concept about two-faced gods. And the best way that I can explain it is to look at yourself within. Look at yourself within. Are you a liar? Okay. Do you love your mate 1 minute and bitching and harping at him the next? Or her? Bitching or harping at them? Here, Amos 5:18. Woe to you who long for the day of the Lord Yahweh. What will the day of the Lord Yahweh be for you? It will be darkness. Again, figuratively destruction, death, ignorance, sorrow, pain, wickedness. Check this out. This is your God Yahweh. I will make them eat the flesh of their sons and daughters. I will make this city a desolation, an object of scorn. All who pass by will be appalled and will scoff at all her wounds. And they will eat one another's flesh in the siege and distress afflicted on them by their enemies who seek their lives. So I got to tell you, man, when Lord Yahweh told Adam and Eve not to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and you ate from that tree of knowledge of good and evil, then you learned what evil was. Because up to that moment, you never knew what evil was because you lived in the light. You were pure light. The minute you ate from that tree, which is the minute Eve laid down with the first man, Adam, you got to understand this concept. 1545 Corinthians Bible Hub. Okay, it is sown a natural body. Okay, natural body means the spiritual, what's the word I'm looking for? Spiritual, natural, I can't even think of it right now. But anyways, it is sown a natural body. It is raised a spiritual body. If there is a natural body, the flesh, there is also a spiritual body, the soul, which is captured in the flesh. So it is written, the first man, Adam, 2 Adams, became a living being. The last Adam, a life-giving spirit. The spirit, this God here breathes its spirit. Remember, folks, here, Revelations 13:18 Bible Hub. Sometimes we just need a little shove in the right direction to understand what's being said in this Bible. So you got to understand that there was a God, a supreme divinity of the supreme creator that was given total power and authority on this material world, which encapsulates our souls inside of a flesh suit. And that's what it wants. This entity wants you to love the flesh. It wants you to love mankind. It wants you to vote mankind. It wants you to believe. Once you understand the flesh is what is evil. The second beast was permitted to give breath to the image of the first beast. That sounds like Yahweh right there. so that the image could speak and cause all those who refused to worship it to be killed. Remember, Yahweh here, let's go. God of Israel comes to 666. So I'm thinking that every God that we know of on this plane of existence is tied up into this 666 system, and we're to be worshiping the Spirit of truth. John chapter 4, verse 24, Bible Hub. God is spirit. This is a magistrate. This is a theos. This is a supreme divinity. Understanding what a divinity is a divided entity of the Supreme Creator, which the Supreme Creator gave power to. He gave power to a divinity of himself. He is in control. The Supreme Creator created something that fell, that he knew would be arrogant. He gave that power for purpose, for reason. Nothing is out of order in the spiritual realm that controls everything here in the material realm. The real battle is going on spiritually in our heads. But we have been trapped in a flesh suit, and we think that it's the flesh. Most on this plane of existence think that you're going to die, go straight into a grave, and then that's it for you. No. That's not it for you. You're going to die. More than likely, you're going to stand right before the Creator for judgment. No one knows what's good. We're taught in this Bible that you go to hell if you didn't or in the Bible you're placed in purgatory. You're placed in a deep sleep until judgment, and then the Spirit is going to raise all the wheats from the tares, all the goats from the sheep. He's going to separate them. He's going to save his children. I don't think that that's the case at all. I think that the children are either saved right there on the spot. That would be something that Satan wants you to think, that you're just held in purgatory. More than likely, what you are is you're born back into another avatar. Because the only way that the Spirit on this plane of existence could give you what you receive, okay, because that's what Jesus says, I am coming soon and my reward is with me to give each one according to what they have done. So Jesus is going to give each one according to what they're done. Well, how can you give each one according to what they're done in the spiritual realm when it was done in the flesh? Unless you're born back into this plane of existence here and it's done to you what you did to others. So that's, to me, sounds like a judgment, that if you've sodomized children, you've killed, you've murdered, then you're going to be born into another flesh suit, and you will be sodomized or murdered. This is no game. This is a balance system. You don't get to do heinous, evil crimes on other people, Gentile or human beings. You don't get to behave this fashion and destroy lives and then think that you get away with it without any judgment. Sorry for you folks. You need to wake up. So the Spirit, we got to worship the Creator. We can't call the Creator a him. Why? Numbers 23:19, Bible Hub. Numbers chapter 23, verse 19, Bible Hub. God is not a man. And nowhere in the Bible does it say that God is not a woman. It says that God is not a man. So if God is not a man, then we can't really equate a masculine to the Supreme Creator. We can't do it. It's a spirit, and I just showed you that it's a spirit. And it's telling you that you must worship the Spirit in spirit and truth. The worshipers of the Supreme Creator must worship the Creator in spirit and truth. You got to understand that we are under a wordcraft here. The gospel is a ghost spell that's been placed over your eyes. Okay, I think that's enough. And then we're going to jump into Judges chapter 8 Bible. Now remember, Israel has just defeated the city. Gideon went in with 300 Israelites and they defeated the city. Okay. So now the Ephraimites asked Gideon, "Why have you treated us like this? Why did you call us when you were to fight Midian?" And they challenged him vigorously. But he answered them, "What have I accomplished compared to you? Aren't the gleanings of Ephraim's grapes better than the full grapes harvest of Abiezer? God gave Arab and Zeb, the Midianite leaders, into the hands. What was I able to do compared to you?" At this, their resentment against him subsided. Gideon and his 300 men, exhausted yet keeping up the pursuit, came to Jordan and crossed it. He said to the men of Succoth, "Give my troops some bread. They are worn out, and I am still pursuing Zebah and Zalmunna, the king of Midian." So all a commander has to offer his troops after all this is a loaf of bread, no meat, nothing to eat, no fruits, no vegetation, bread. Bread was probably the first thing that was made by man's hands, that loaf of bread. But the officials of Succoth said, "Do you really have the hands of Zebah and Zalmunna in your possession? Why should we give bread to your troops?" Then Gideon replied, "Just for that, when the Lord has given Zebah and Zalmunna into my hands, I will tear your flesh with desert thorns and briars." From there, he went up to Peniel. And this could be a reference again to the pineal gland. This is the river that Jacob passes and speaks with God face to face, and he names the place Pineal. Okay, this is dealing with the pineal gland. Okay, the Ark of the Covenant is your mind, folks. It's your brain. It's your head. It's the heaved up place. It's the thought. Okay, it has nothing to do with the flesh. You are not flesh and blood, but our rulers, these entities, these divinities, these Elohim, these watchers, these demons, what they've done is they turned us into their slaves, into their idea of what ruling is all about. You see, God, the supreme spirit of truth, the God of love outside this plane of existence, I didn't mean to say he, but the spirit is of divine purpose, everything in perfect order. This plane of existence down here is order through chaos. The slave masters create all the chaos, and then they bring in their orders, their new world orders and stuff. And that's what's going on right now. So he said to the men of Peniel, "When I return in triumph, I will tear down this tower." Now Zebah and Zalmunna were in Kor, with a force of about 15,000 men, all that were left to the armies of the eastern people. 120,000 swordsmen had fallen. So that's a lot of death. So understand that war, that's what Yahweh is. He is a God of war. Exodus 15:3 tells us that he is a God of war. Exodus 15:3 tells us that the Lord is a man of war, and Exodus 15:3 tells us that Jehovah is a man of war. These are gods of war. And I'm telling you that the Supreme Spirit, the Creator, is not a God of war. He is not a God of destruction. He is not a two-faced God. He is pure truth. You've got to understand that. This was the purpose of Jesus being sent, was to get Israel to return to the rightful worship of the Spirit of truth. Whether that be Yahweh, I don't know, because clearly I've proven to you that Yahweh is a two-faced God. Yahweh tells you that he created evil. Yahweh's the one that leads Israel into battle. Yahweh's the one that destroys Israel in battle. Okay, now all of them were left of the armies in the eastern people. 120,000 swordsmen had fallen. A lot of people, huh? That's another thing. How do we get to almost 8 billion people when through the ages, millions and millions in these wars have been slaughtered and cut down? That's a lot of freaking people. Gideon went up by the route of the nomads east of Nobah and Jogbehah and attacked the unsuspecting army. Zebah and Zalmunna, the two kings of Midian, fled, but he pursued them and captured them, routing their entire armies. Gideon, son of Joash, then returned from the battle by the pass of Heres, and caught a young man of Succoth and questioned him, and the young man wrote down for him the names of the 77 officials of Succoth, the elders of the town. Then Gideon came and said to the men of Succoth, "Here are Zebah and Zalmunna, about whom you taunted me by saying, 'Do you already have the hands of Zebah and Zalmunna in your possession? Why should we give bread to your exhausted men?'" He took the elders of the town and taught the men of Succoth a lesson by punishing them with desert thorns and briars. He also pulled down the tower of Peniel and placed the men of the town and killed the men of the town. Then he asked Zebah and Zalmunna, "What kind of men did you kill at Tabor?" "Men like you," they answered, "each one with the bearing of a prince. Do not put your trust in princes." Gideon replied, "Those were my brothers, the sons of my mother. As surely as the Lord lives, if you had spared their lives, I would not kill you." Turning to Jether, his oldest son, he said, "Kill them." But Jether did not draw his sword because he was only a boy and was afraid. So here you have a father telling a boy to kill a man. Wouldn't you want to keep your son innocent from shedding the blood there, folks? Huh? Common sense. I would never tell my son to raise an arm against a person. I wouldn't put him through that trial. I wouldn't try my son like that. That's an evil father to put a weapon in a son's hand and say, "Hey, do the dirty work." And he didn't. Good for him. Zebah and Zalmunna said, "Come do it yourself." As if the man, so is his strength. So Gideon stepped forward and killed them and took the ornaments off their camels' necks. Gideon's ephod, that's the chest plate that they wear on their chests. The Israelites said to Gideon, "Rule over us, you, your son, and your grandson, because you have saved us from the hands of Midian." So here again, the Israelites are turning over to Gideon and asking Gideon to rule them when the Spirit is telling you, "Let no man rule over you. Come to me. Let my Spirit be your shield." But Gideon told them, "I will not rule over you, nor will my sons rule over you. The Lord will rule over you." See? Wow, imagine that. And he said, "I do have one request, that each of you give me an earring from your share of the plunder. it was the custom of the Ishmaelites to wear gold earrings. Why? Gold doesn't mean anything to me. Okay? None of it. Rubies, diamonds. The most hideous saying on the face of this earth that was ever created? Our diamonds are a woman's best friends. Diamonds are worthless pieces of crushed glass. They're nothing. And this plane of existence is somehow or another concocted this reality that diamonds are worth something. And as far as I'm concerned, you could shit a diamond out my ass, man. I wouldn't be impressed at all. They answered, well, be glad to give them. So they spread out a garment, and each of them threw a ring from his plunder onto it. The weight of the gold's ring he asked for came to 1,700 shekels, not counting the ornaments, the pendants, and the purple garments worn by the king of Midian, or the chains that were on their camels' necks. Gideon made the gold into ephod, which he placed in Ophrah, his town. All Israel prostituted themselves by worshiping it there, and it became a snare to Gideon and his family. So that doesn't really make any kind of sense at all now, does it, folks? That all these things would take place, Gideon would win in a defeat for the Lord, and then no sooner did he defeat Israel, prostitutes themselves again by worshiping it, and it became a snare to Gideon and his family. Gideon's death, thus Midian was subdued before the Israelites and did not raise its head again. During Gideon's lifetime, the land had peace 40 years. So Gideon destroyed Israel. The Lord Yahweh led Gideon in and destroyed those in the city. He slayed them. He killed them. This is a Lord of war. The gods of this plane of existence love using the flesh suit for war. Haven't you figured it out? If Yahweh is a man, all right, of war, and Yahweh is his name, anything that was a man that lived in this plane of existence is dead. It's that simple. When you're born into this plane of existence, you're born into death. Okay? Okay, thus Midian was subdued before the Israelites and did not raise its head again. During Gideon's lifetime, the land had peace for 40 years. Okay? Jerubbaal, son of Joash, went back home to live. He had 70 sons of his own, for he had many wives. His concubines, who lived in Shittim, also bore him a son, whom he named Abimelech. Gideon, son of Joash, died at a good old age and was buried in a tomb of his father Joash in Ophrah and the Abiezrites. No sooner Gideon died, the Israelites again prostituted themselves to the Baals. They set up Baal-berith as their god and did not remember the Lord their God, Yahweh, who had rescued them from the hands of all their enemies on every side. They also failed to show any loyalty to the family of Jerubbaal, that is Gideon, in spite of all the good things he had done for them. And that's going to be a close on this particular lesson. I hope everybody yields, your soul, your spirit to the Spirit of truth, the living one, God of love, pure love. Okay? The God of pure love can't come into a world of pure hate, right? So the Spirit ordains things outside this plane of existence. He sends spiritual angels to do his work. Don't think that the Spirit doesn't correct those that need correction. All praise and glory to the Supreme Spirit. This is White Raptor News Ministries.